All right, back to our top story now on the violence erupting in Egypt. Not only directed at the military and the Muslim Brotherhood, but we are now learning how more than a dozen churches have been torched, set on fire for no apparent reason. It now appears that Egypt's Christian population is becoming collateral damage, at least as the Muslim Brotherhood does battle with the Egyptian army. Now, a short time ago, President Obama publicly addressed the situation in Egypt for the first time, and he condemned those who are behind the violence and the bloodshed.
To the Egyptian people, let me say, the cycle of violence and escalation needs to stop. We call on the Egyptian authorities to respect the universal rights of the people. We call on those who are protesting to do so peacefully and condemn the attacks that we've seen by protesters, including on churches.
Ralph Peters is a Fox News strategic analyst and author of Hell or Richmond. Ralph, nice to see you.
Hey, great to see you as always, Allison.
You too. So this is an underreported story, Ralph, that Christians appear to be targeted. There are dozens of churches that have been burned. Homes and businesses of Christians are being burned. Rocks are being thrown at them. They're being chased from building to building. Are they collateral damage in this larger battle, or are they being specifically targeted?
The Muslim Brotherhood has always desired to religiously cleanse the Middle East, to get Jews and Christians out. This is part of the Muslim Brotherhood and Islamist program. Now, the president, in a rambling address this morning, had one line, that one line you played about churches. The rest of it was basically portraying the Muslim Brotherhood as peaceful protesters. Well, peaceful protesters don't carry Kalashnikovs to demonstrations. They don't kill policemen. They don't burn churches and attack and kill Christians. They don't kidnap secularists and imprison them in mosques and torture them. And Allison, can you imagine the outcry that would rise to the heavens from this administration if this were a case of Christians anywhere in the world burning dozens of historic mosques? But since it's Muslims burning churches and other religious buildings, burning Christian businesses, killing Christians, the administration and the president see it's worth one phrase in a long monologue. You know, they just don't care about dead Christians.
Well, Ralph, I mean, it seems as though something more significant is happening in Egypt than just pro-Morsi, anti-Morsi struggle as it is being framed in much of the media. If Christians are being targeted, what does this mean, and what should the president be saying or doing?
Well, the president needs to get a grip on reality. You know, there was a coup in Egypt, but it wasn't the military move. It was when the Muslim Brotherhood, after making all sorts of promises of inclusiveness, came to power in a protest vote election that was held prematurely and immediately excluded everyone from the Egyptian government except Muslim brothers, tried to push Egypt headlong into a new Sharia law-based constitution, imprisoned journalists, shut down the media. It was an Islamist takeover. That was the coup. And President Obama did not protest that. In fact, his ambassador praised Morsi right up until the bitter end, and the military moved. And now the military. Look, I don't like military coups. I don't like military movements. But we've got to recognize that in this one, our enemy, the enemy of the Egyptian people and the enemy of the American people, is the same. It is Islamist extremism. And the Muslim Brotherhood will never be our friends. They had their chance. They blew it. The Egyptian military responded to the evident will of the people and are trying, they're on the side of the people trying to build a modern economy, a modern society. There will be differences about what shape that society takes. But the Muslim Brotherhood wants to drag Egypt backward into an authoritarian religious state. And by the way, it's not just Egypt, and the administration doesn't get it. This is a titanic struggle across the entire Middle East. Islamist extremists don't see the state borders we see. They want a caliphate that encompasses everything. Syria, Iraq, Tunisia, Libya, Egypt. Every place you're seeing the same struggle between those Muslim Arabs who desperately want to modernize and humanize their societies, and the forces of medieval perversions of religion.
Interestingly, Ralph, Egyptian media is reporting on this troubling development of Christians being persecuted. And I should say there are some reports in the U.S. media that are reporting on it, but they're buried, 8 paragraphs down. So let's hope that this gets all the attention that it deserves. Ralph Peters, great to see you.
Thank you, Alice.